This is Eldritch Song with Seraphim, and I'm here with another cube draft. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got. So we've got some pretty sweet white cards with Dave Judgment, Conqueror's Pledge, Armageddon. We've also got some decent blue cards with Cryptic Command and the Shapeshifter. But really, the card that stands out to me here is Kokusho, the Evening Star. It's also the only black card in the pack, other than maybe Putrefy. So because of that, probably the best choice here to cut off black. Also take probably one of the most powerful cards out of the pack. Otherwise, I think probably my pick would be here Cryptic Command, but I think Kokusho's stronger overall. Alright, so second pack, we've got some interesting options. A lot of red cards, a lot of really, actually pretty good red cards. Zenith obviously is good, Creator Hellion is good. In terms of white, there's Archon of Justice, which is nice. Blue's got Callous Oppressor. Piana's weak. I guess the card, once again, standing out to me, though, is still Profane Command, being one of the, probably the best black card in the pack, and also one of the best cards in the pack. It's a bit, I don't know, I guess this pack could go either way, and more comes down to like personal preference. I think for me, it'd be between the Zenith and the Profane Command. And I think just cutting off black here is more important than taking a red card. There's plenty of removal in this pack, or in this cube, as has been pointed out to me in several comments, so no reason to force anything like that. So it could go white here and take a Catastrophe, possibly, or an Exalted Angel. Or it could go red, snatch up one of these removal spells. And there's not really much here. Removal, in terms of removal, there's Stagger Shock, Journey, Magma Jet. But there also is like a Zombify for possibly a kind of reanimate strategy. And I really don't mind going that direction. We haven't made any really important picks here, and might as well start cutting off, like I said, cutting off black a bit more. I think Zombify is still a pretty good pick, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that and try to maybe draft a reanimate archetype. And that possibly might pay off, because here is Diabolic Servitude, which I think is probably one of the better reanimate spells in the cube. And I'd certainly be happy to pick that up. Possibly even wheel Psychotog, which would be a pretty sweet addition to having an animate deck. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do that. Alright, so if that's the strategy, then we need to start picking up some bombs, in which case the Chroma Angel of Wrath seems like a good pick. In terms of other cards in here, that's sweet. I love Yavimaya Elder. That guy has just got so much value. Control Aesthetic is hard to kill. But really, none of these cards are really that impressive. So I think the Chroma, just if we're going to go for this strategy of bringing back big creatures, seems pretty solid to me. Alright. So again, don't really have too much here. One thing that I actually am considering playing is this Phyrexian Processor. I've had it played against me several times. It actually has been quite good. The other option here, I think, would be like this Woodfall Primus. And it's not exactly a bad pick here, but it is a bit awkward, possibly, to play with. And it could wheel anyway, because green, like big creature green, is not exactly a popular archetype I've noticed, but this Processor here I think is better value overall. Alright, so really there's almost nothing going on here in this pack. Felwar Stone for mana, not really that impressed. Color of the Claw, not that impressed either. I guess I'm just even trying to figure out what's a good pairing for this type of deck. And really I'm not seeing too much that I'm impressed by, so I'm going to go ahead and take, I guess, this Vigilante. Maybe for some removal. I think it'd probably be easier to splash than a Relic Warder. Mana Crypt, no thank you. Hymn to Turach might be a good addition just for some hand disruption, also to provide us some targets for reanimating. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Pass up that Sword of Vengeance, that's perfectly fine. I don't really need that card in this deck. Another good card to have, I think if I was going to play a second color with black, it'd probably be blue, because I just think that pairing works better. So Narcolepsy wouldn't be bad here. Then again, neither would Loot or Ilkor. And that actually might work better with the strategy. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that instead of the Narcolepsy. Either one of those I think would have been fine, but Loot or Ilkor lets us draw cards and discard cards, so kind of works towards both of the strategies. And we might not even play it, depending on how this goes. Alright, so we're back around to our first pick. And really there's not really anything here that's too impressive. One thing we could consider taking would be like Conqueror's Pledge. It is pretty mana intensive, but we do have an Angel of Wrath. So we could set ourselves up to actually hardcast it, potentially. Though Conqueror's Pledge is not exactly the best card ever, but I think it's worth taking over these pretty mediocre cards. Solitary Visionary, though, is interesting. That might be, I don't know, I don't think that's really better. I'll just go ahead and take the Conqueror's Pledge. Here, everything comes back. Best card in the pack is definitely the Creator Hylian, so I guess, for the sake of hating it, I'll just go ahead and do that. Piana Nomad Captain is not exactly like an aggressive, it's more of an aggressive card, not what we really want to have. Catastrophe, I think, is probably the pick here over Journey to Nowhere or Magma Jet. Alright, so here, nothing really that's impressive. I'm going to go ahead and take this Lodestone Golem. I don't think, well, obviously I'm not going to play it, I don't think. But I'm going ahead and just take it away from somebody else. I don't think Starstorm or Magus of the Scroll is really that relevant. I guess in terms of which one's more relevant, maybe actually Starstorm probably is more relevant than Lodestone. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, I suppose. And sure, let's take away this Troll aesthetic. I don't like playing against that. And a Glorious Anthem. Alright. So, this pack... Ooh, look at that. So that's... The Sword of Light and Shadow probably is the pick here. Otherwise, cards I personally like. I like Fleshbag Marauder. I like Murderous Redcap. Not really too much else that is especially that relevant for this deck. So yeah, Sword of Light and Shadow, awesome card, and for sure I'm gonna go ahead and snatch that up. And gives pretty good protection from things that typically are good against black. Alright, so here's what we've got. If we are playing white, land tax seems pretty sweet. And actually, I think that's probably the pick here. I haven't played land tax in a while, admittedly. One reason why I personally do like land tax is if we use it turn 1, we can get a bunch of land and fill up our hand, and that'll let us discard something from our hand to get it in there without having to skip a land drop. So I think land tax probably actually is a pretty good pick, and it does go well with the deck. And hopefully we'll get back to Gulliver's Shrine and also Gerard's Verdict. Both of those cards would go well with this color combination. I'm not sure how many other people are playing white-black, so it's a good chance. At least we'll get back to Gerard's Verdict. Alright, so let's see what we've got. So we have Eternal Dragon, which also is actually a pretty sweet card. We have... I guess out of all these cards, the Eternal Dragon looks the best. I mean, we can plane cycle it and use it to grab the planes plus have the target for a reanimate spell. And that actually seems pretty reasonable as a strategy, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And overall, it's a pretty solid creature anyway. And not really anything else here that we need. We'll have to keep our eye out for, I guess, some removal. And also maybe a few creatures away. Our Sword of Light and Shadow actually has some targets. Though a sword on a looter ill core would be pretty sweet. Alright, so this is pretty good. Couple of options here. I like Bitter Blossom, admittedly. I love that card. And that would be quite good for our sword. But I think we'll have to keep cutting off our animate if we're even going to go this direction. Otherwise, we're just kind of kidding ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and take the reanimate. And maybe, I don't think we're going to wield the Bitter Blossom. I would like to, but obviously that's kind of far-fetched. So a few cards I like here. I think the Spectre, the Sliver, and the Nim Deathmantle are both fairly solid additions. But personally, I think the Necrotic Sliver is probably the most powerful. It kills anything, and it works with our colors, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that up. Alright. So, there are a couple of options. So, Chainer Dimension Master actually is decent. Not great, because you have to pay the life to use his ability, and then if he gets killed, all your cards are kind of blanked. So for that reason, I think I might go ahead and take Yawgmoth's Will here over that card, and possibly wheel it anyway. So we're on pick 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it's possible to wheel that card, though not especially probable. So I think here it's between card draw and hand disruption. So that's a bit difficult to distinguish between. Puppet Strings is another option, I guess, but I feel like it's one or the other here, and I guess I'd rather have some hand disruption since we're kind of low on removal. And Buried Alive is perfect. Lovely, lovely card. So for sure that's going to get picked up. Ooh, and talk about card draw. Dark Confident. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, well that's the pick there. And let's take a look. None of these cards really that good. I think I'd rather just take, let's see, destroy artifact or land, discard a card. Not really anything here that's that impressive, but I'm just trying to figure out what I would rather hate and not have to face. I don't know, might as well just take the really cheap removal of Chain Lightning in case we actually do want to splash something. Alright, so we have the option of a Godless Shrine, which probably is the pick anyway, or a Slayer, and I think I'd just rather have the dual land, though it's not really that necessary, but it will help us play a lot of things, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Bituminous Blast, or possibly even a Priest, though that's a bit mana intensive. But the Priest is okay, I guess. Like I said, we do need targets for a Sword of Light and Shadow, and protection from red, and then equipped with the Light and Shadow would actually make that card pretty hard to deal with. Alright, so really nothing here that's that impressive. Sky Sunder is a green card, can't play that. Obviously not going to play Rafik. Cloud Goat's the only card we could feasibly play, and I don't think we're going to play that either way. Because it's a pretty, not a weak card, but definitely not a good card in this particular deck. Let's see, while I do like Core Skyfisher, I think that we need to take the Seal of Cleansing just so we can have some ways to remove artifacts and enchantments. And so that's the pick. And a Curd Ape. Alright, so here's some more action. Ooh. So, the cards that are standing out to me are Sphinx of the Steel Wind, which probably is the pick. The other two cards I really want, Go for the Throat, Bone Shredder, both sweet, both awesome. And Crime and Punishment, probably a card I can wheel, possibly. We'll have to find out. But here, I'm just going to take the Sphinx. Not really playable in this deck, but it's good for discarding it and animating it. A really good animate target. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that pass. An Esper. Though then again, if we do play, I don't think we're gonna be playing blue. We could play a 3-color deck, I suppose, but it's not exactly like we really need to splash for 2 cards. But we'll see. It might be worth it bringing in a few blue sources to be able to play Sphinx just in case we don't get a chance to animate it. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got. So cards that I'm impressed by currently are Phyrexian Arena, and that's about it. Swords to Plowshares actually might be a better pick. Though I wonder if we really do need that much card draw. I'm kind of wondering about that. Whether the sword as removal is better than the Phyrexian Arena at this point. That's a bit harder to tell. I think though I'm just gonna go ahead and take the arena and hope for the best. Like I said, hopefully we'll get back some removal. And we're not that bad on removal. Alright, so well, speaking of removal, ooh, this is kind of tough. So we have the choice of a Mortify, which is awesome, a Rend the Flesh, which is awesome, but also a Karmic Guide, which in a way is sort of like another piece of Reanimate. And I think because of the strategy we have, we just can't pass that up. Hopefully we can get back a Mortify at least. Possibly a Rend Flash, because it's already gone this far, but who knows. So I imagine there are some other cards that are going to be taken highly, like Rebel Lark, Capture Zhao, Manipulator. But then again, it's possible that these 2 cards won't come back. But I think Karmic Guide's probably better, just because of the deck we have. All right, so here are a few choices. So there's a Nicole Bolas Planeswalker, which is awesome. A Wormcoil Engine, which is awesome. So it seems like every single game we're just getting the choice between an awesome bomb and some kind of removal. And I think we just can't keep. I mean, I can't pass up the bomb. I don't think. Wormcoil Engine is clearly a bomb, and it's worth taking. Otherwise, I think the pick here would have been Shriek Maw. So I'm gonna grab the Wormcoil and hopefully get back some removal. Ooh. So choice between an Exhume and an Animate Dead. I think we're gonna have to take this Animate Dead for sure. Not much of a choice there, but I'd like to have both. So there's the Animate. A few decent green cards in here. Spirit Monger's solid. Alright, so it's apparently the browser's loading and taking a while to process my pick. It was too epic for it. This might finally be the time. Alright. Awesome. So we do have a few choices here. And I think, like I said, we're low on removal. It's going to take a Chainer's Edict here. These other cards are awesome. Like, Mind Twist is good. Vengeance is good. Massacre is good. But I think now at this point, just to take some removal and be happy with that. Because we have enough bombs now. And enough ways to get them back. That we can safely start taking removal. So we don't actually die before we can do it. Alright. So again, we have a choice between a piece of Animate or a piece of removal. And this only works in my graveyard. I think probably I'd rather take a Necrotal here over a Makeshift Mannequin. Not the best piece of recursion ever. And Necrotal is solid for its removals ability. Alright. So we have the option of taking another bomb, a Mirror Battlesphere, and we've also got a piece of sort of pseudo removal in the form of Temporal Isolation. This is a bit difficult, I would say. Both of these cards are solid. I think again though, in terms of just the fact that it's a bomb, I think we can't pass the Mirror Battlesphere. Temporal Isolation is not exactly my idea of a good piece of removal. So that's the pick. Alright, so none of these cards are especially impressive. I think though the card I like the best out of here is Flicker Wisp. Actually a quite good card and combos well with like Mirror Battlesphere, Necrotal, and a few other cards. And I think it's actually early enough because I think I would hope that this deck should be pretty fast, like maybe animating some big creature, within the first 3 turns. So Flicker Wisp actually it seems like a pretty good choice here, other than I guess Megas as an option, but that's a bit too control-ish. Awesome. So we have the choice of some kind of pseudo like Planeswalker removal or just creature removal here with Bone Shredder, and I think I prefer just grab the Bone Shredder. It works better with the deck we have. The Anka Mishra, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that actually might be a pretty solid card. Since we're not hoping to play that many land, but I guess nothing else really here for us, so might as well take it. Though I guess the Sultari Trooper is not bad either. Seems like it might be a more efficient pick than this card here. Well, it's worth a shot, though. I've never played it before, so at least I can try it and see whether or not I like it. Whether Wayfarers is good enough, we're probably not going to play it, but might as well have it. Here, I think I'd rather actually have it as figure rather than sort of a temporary removal spell, even though it hits more things. This figure just seems better for our curve and a bit more direct. Alright, so none of these are really that relevant. Let's go ahead and take a Pride Mage out of that. And a Wicker Bow Elder. That's not too bad. Alright, so there's the deck. I'm going to bring this into Magic Online and start deck building and then play some matches. So I will see you there. Thanks for watching. Alright, so here's my deck, or here's the all the cards that are going to be in the deck. So let's start adding stuff. So Profane Command, Kokosho definitely, Necrotal, Zombify, Servitude. Let's go ahead and just do Buried Alive, Bone Shredder, Distress, Animate Dead, Chainer's Edict, Reanimate, Disfigure. I'm going to leave Dark Confidant out. My mana curve's probably too high for that card. Hymn to Tarach I still like. Necrotic Sliver, it's awesome. Phyrexian Processor should go in. Worm Coil should go in. Chroma definitely belongs in there. Sphinx. And let's see what else we've got. I like land tax in this deck. That leaves Eternal Dragon, I think, belongs in there for sure. Kind of fits in that curve weirdly. That's 20 cards. Wormcoil Engine I like. Not the Ankh of Mishra. Wormcoil Engine. And let's take a second to look at the cards. So a few of our options we have Phyrexian Arena, Mirror Battlesphere, Yawgmoth's Will, Catastrophe. Catastrophe probably belongs in the deck. Phyrexian Arena, perhaps not. 24 cards, 16 lands seems a bit weak. Because of that, probably take out one of the cards. I almost want to take out Sword of Light and Shadow, but I'm not sure whether that's a bad idea or not. So a card we can take out. Let's see. I like all the cards in here. And the thing is, I do think it might be okay to play less land because we're not really intending to curve up to that, to more than like 4. I think because of that, I might give that a shot. Yeah, I'll take a risk and I'll just play 16 land. Really don't need the mini. I'm not going to bother splashing for the Sphinx. Everything else looks pretty good. So I'm going to go and look up some land. Alright, let's see what I'm thinking about. So 16 land, 10 black, and 6 white seem okay. That's probably good enough for this type of deck. Maybe even less than that, but no, I think that's probably fine. So 10 black, and for 5 plains, and throw in a Godless Shrine. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white, 11 black. 11 black might be a bit excessive. Let's see what we've got. Then again, we do have... we're not that heavy black, I guess. Then we can bear to take out one more swamp and put in another plains just to be on the safer side. Alright, so that's the deck. First time I've ever played with 16 lands, so hopefully that'll turn out to be a good decision. We'll find out. And I'll see you in the matches.